Nerdrotic.com.
Thank you, you beautiful fake audience, you. Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner, everyone. Hope you are all doing well. Let's see if we can get this chat moving. There we go. You just got to click on it, then it moves. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like magic. And we got to get rid of this window before we even start. Hello. So, yeah, obviously didn't do a Nerdrotic Nooner on Monday because I was, I was making a video. And, there's just only so much time in the day. And then family stuff happened. So here we are today to talk about a lot of stuff. Had a really good BBC with Az yesterday. Had a good time. And yesterday, it kind of snuck up on me, was the anniversary of R.I.P. Doctor Who. It's 1 year old. It's been 1 year since Chris Chibnall destroyed a beloved franchise, and there's been a lot of talk of Lucasfilm lately, and we will certainly talk about that. And the destruction of that franchise, I would argue, since Disney bought it, but a lot will say since The Last Jedi. Well, Doctor Who had its Last Jedi a year ago, but it makes The Last Jedi look like The Empire Strikes Back. That's how bad it was for this franchise, because Chris Chibnall is obviously a very petty person, a very bitter person, and he wasn't just happy enough flipping Doctor Who on its head by introducing the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen. An experiment that was essentially pressing the desperation button. And thanks to a good friend and listener, Java Bean, there is a sound clip, which I can't play for you today, but it might be in a video, of Stephen Moffat referring to it as that back in the 80s. And you know, the first episode looked like it worked, but they were dreaming. What it was the curiosity factor. People were wanting to see, like, if it would work, if it would be a total disaster. And most everyone found out in one single episode and started dipping after that. Some people hung on, but it has been a downward slide since her first episode. A lot of YouTubers were out there warning something like this would happen, including the great Dave Cullen. Love that ginge. Bulls Trek. Then yours truly came along, Clownfish TV, Doomcock. A lot of us were warning that, well, what you're doing is you're sacrificing something wonderful on the altar of agenda. And they were, Chris Chibnall and the powers that be at the BBC were fully aware of that, didn't care, had no desire in keeping Doctor Who as it was going. They probably knew it would take a hit, but I think they believed that it would weather the storm and come out the other side, because as with pretty much everyone in this cult of identity politics, They are just convinced they're right. And who convinced them? Themselves. They look in the mirror every day and go, I'm right. They're wrong. And I don't need to listen to them because I'm already right. I wake up in the morning right about everything. Turns out they weren't. And I don't go through life like that. I roll out of the rack going, what am I going to learn today? Or what did I fuck up? I mean, it's only a matter of time. And I wouldn't want to wake up in the morning thinking I was right about everything, because then the journey is done. But no, they know better than all of us, and they're going to teach us lessons. They're going to create conversations through a whimsical fantasy sci-fi drama that once was a show that brought everyone together. Now, I know not everyone loved Doctor Who, but I did. Has been a fan on and off for years, but when it came to, right around when I was owning the comic shop, I started playing it every day, and I played it every day for years. I helped make a lot of Doctor Who fans. My Doctor Who section grew from like a couple of action figures to an entire wall over that period of time. It was good times. It was fun. And we did viewing parties, like I've said before. We had all walks of life coming in, having a good time. We had a screen. I had a projector, a 720p projector. I pirated Doctor Who and played it in my store, but I didn't charge a single dime. It was free. It was free for everyone. Occasionally, I would have a taco truck, and you can go buy a ticket at a taco truck, and you would get 3 tacos and a soda or a bottle of water. And we'd just chill out and watch Doctor Who. Saw the 50th anniversary at my shop. And just like my live streams, there was always technical difficulties. It always started about a half an hour late, but people had a good time. We had fun. And then, of course, Jodie was announced. I wasn't going to review the show at all. I was done. I was out. I had a room. I had a Doctor Who room. It was like this, but it was all Doctor Who. And I took it down that day. The day my son saw the announcement and said, I'm out. And I'm like, oh, see, because that's something I did with him. But they didn't care because they wanted to drink male tears. And all of those people who were enjoying the festivities and drinking male tears, where are they now? Where were they after the second episode? Well, they didn't watch Doctor Who. They never watched Doctor Who. They were well on their way to the next thing. Kind of like cancel culture. They were just there to take somebody out, and they're on to somebody else. They don't even care about that thing that person was in. It's about getting scalps. It's about destruction. And we have been talking about it for years, and Hollywood is maybe waking up to this. The BBC is beyond repair. It's on the brink of collapse. And it's got a lot to do with, well, their politics. Whatever happened behind the scenes at Top Gear, it cost them their best show and their best drama as far as licensing across the planet. One of them was Doctor Who. And, aside from the millions that they get from China, who we will talk about in just a second, they made a big decision yesterday that should affect the very moral Doctor Who. We'll see if it does. It should affect Disney, too. I do recall Disney refusing to shoot in Georgia over a certain law. Well, I would say this is far worse, but we'll see. Apparently, Disney has values. The BBC has values that are above and beyond all of us regular plebs. We'll see if maybe it's just cultural differences. I don't know. I actually do know, and we'll talk about that in a bit. We got to wait for the stream to get a little older to get into that subject matter, though. So here we are, a year later. Season 11 was a disaster. Season 12, I remember it so well. When Spyfall aired, there were people going, oh, it's not so bad. They've righted the ship. This was in the episode where she said, of course, after we heard that the doctor's a man. Well, I've had an upgrade. Not exactly, sweetheart. The doctor is a man. The doctor is a male character. I've said that for quite some time. I think there's a lot of people out there who are willing to give a female doctor a chance, and I was open to it. I mean, good writing can conquer anything, I think. The problem is we have no danger of good writing creeping into Doctor Who anytime soon, as long as Chibnall is there. So the experiment has failed. It's been a failure since its beginning. Just like everything woke has failed. And they just keep going from franchise to franchise. And, most people get fed up within about 6 months and they're done. Apathy has set in. And now we hear the BBC that's on the brink of collapse is going to think about going to a streaming service or paid subscriptions. And it's eventually going to have to go to that anyway. Good luck. Good luck. Once you have to start competing with Tortuga, there's a lot of very good, honest people out there who will pay. And there's a lot of people out there who can't afford it and will go to Tortuga. And there's people who just will go to Tortuga. And I'm not here to judge at all. Considering how the BBC and Hollywood has treated a large portion of the fan base, they shouldn't be surprised if people go to Tortuga. Why would you want to fund people who don't like you? And have said that, and have said openly, we don't want you around. You're a part of the fandom we don't need. Turns out you did need, regular people that you have been vilifying and demonizing. And all they've done is call out the vandalization of something they loved. So The Timeless Children aired, and the entire 56-year history of Doctor Who was turned on its head. Why? Well, Chris Chibnall recognized what we all knew. The female doctor wasn't working, didn't really fit in, so we need to change the show to accommodate her. So in a roughly 5-minute monologue, and that monologue was done by the master and not by the main character of the monologue, Tecteun, the awesome, stunning, brilliant, bestest ever Gallifreyan woman of science who built her own ship, explored the galaxy by herself, but yet did not utter a single word of dialogue, found a little black girl at a portal and decided to appropriate her and her power. And because we need women in STEM, they had her kill this child over and over and over again so she could study her and steal her regeneration power. We'll just use the words I can use. Been kicked out of 3 high schools. And at least she was very inclusive and diverse in the murdering of these children. They were very, very representative. And then it was, and then after that, the doctor, who the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen, was in the Matrix and decided to destroy it with her mind, with the power of the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen's mind, which was symbolizing the destruction of Doctor Who's entire history. Done with glee. And I don't know if they are just on a constant diet of their smelling their own farts and thought this would work. Even the people who were defending them. I can't tell you how many emails I got that basically said, I'm paraphrasing, I thought you were an asshole. Now I'm in total agreement with you. So, Doctor Who's dead. Doctor Who's dead. And it's currently filming. What the hell? It's currently filming right now. And they're acting like, oh, well, everything's fine. In the meantime, the BBC's collapsing. Like I said before, even Russell T Davies has given up. He's like, I tried to defend this, and it's just a tired old model. It's turned off a large portion of the British public because they weren't serving them while demanding they pay for it. The show isn't serving a large portion of its fandom, so they just have left at this point, and apathy has kicked in. And the only thing we are looking forward to is watching the ratings slide to maybe American levels in the UK. I don't know. There's a lot of you that hang on. I don't know why you watch it. Maybe because your TV's on and you're busy doing something else. Maybe it's habitual. Maybe you just want to support the show, no matter how bad it is. But supporting this show right now is just ensuring its demise forever. And I think we might be there. I don't know. Would the BBC erase the last 2 years of canon? I doubt it. Would the BBC be forced to sell this property or go into a co-production with America and then they just reboot it from scratch? I think that's a possibility. I think that's probably in the realm of possibility if things get really bad. Not saying it's there now. So here we are with the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen, has apparently left. And now we do not have confirmation of this at all, but everybody's kind of running around, including former cast members, thinking it's a done deal. I think it is too. But do they keep Chris Chibnall? Well, I don't know how contracts work. But I have always heard they were a package deal, and I heard before the coup that they were leaving. Now, this was before the coup. I don't know what's gone on since then, other than it's been a total disaster. They rolled out Captain Jack. And that did give a little bit of a bump in the ratings for the Festive Special, but it wasn't enough to... It wasn't earth-shattering at all. Sorry, I do have to pay attention to my phone because Junior's in school right now, and I'm a solo dad. Mrs. Nerdrotic's living it up in Beverly Hills with her friend because it's her birthday. Well, it's her birthday's coming up. We're going to give her a proper birthday wishes on Friday Night Tights. So, I mean, I remember it was a year yesterday. I fired up a live stream post The Timeless Children. Starry-Eyed Girl was there. Bulls Trek was there. And I streamed for the first time with a guy named Az from Heel versus Babyface. He came in a little later, but if you go back and watch that stream, we are speechless in the first 5 minutes. We didn't know how to process it. I was texting Starry-Eyed Girl and Bulls Trek as the episode was airing, and we were just like, oh, what? They actually did it. And I knew it was coming. I knew they were going to turn the Doctor into a little girl. I didn't know it was a little black girl. I knew they were going to mess with the regenerations. Now, what I was told, and this was just an idea that was on the table, was there was going to be forgotten sets of regenerations or forgotten regenerations. And that still could be the case. We haven't gotten an answer on that. Had no idea they were going to introduce Dr. Ruth. But I know why they introduced Dr. Ruth. They introduced Dr. Ruth because the next Doctor will not be a black female. It's going to be a male. It's going to be a male. Now, is it going to be a male that identifies a certain way? Probably. Is it going to be a white male? No, of course not. They're still playing these identity politics games. Personally, I'm in agreement with all of you. I think they should get the best person for the job, but that's not going to happen. That's the diversity and inclusivity initiative is still in play at the BBC, as far as I know. So, yeah, it was a nightmare. I knew it was coming. I saw it happen, and I'm, I didn't want to show that much. I mean, it was cruel what they did, and they were fucking happy. Their people were lining up going, "Oh, I can't wait to see people bitch about this." This is exactly why they do this now. They're not writing to inspire us or to get us to watch. They're writing to troll us so we can go and have our little arguments online. That's what they fucking want. I mean, that is Bad Robot 101. And the BBC has just picked up the torch. I give you the example of Jar Jar Abrams' announcement with Ta-Nehisi Coates. That's what they want. They want to troll. And I'm glad that announcement opened a lot of people's eyes to Jar Jar Abrams. That is the guy who destroyed Star Trek. That is the guy who destroyed Star Wars. And BBC is doing the same shit. So there must be some marketing research or memo or some bullshit. Because they all, go to their circle jerk little parties and talk to each other and said, we need to get people arguing online. That is what sells shit. I mean, it worked for Captain Marvel. Let's be honest. It worked for Captain Marvel. So what do? We not call it out? Do we not call it out and just let them? No, we have to call it out still. But is it a part of the game plan? Sure, I guess. But I think they just figured they have all the power, which they do. But then there's this pesky little thing called YouTube. And YouTube has spawned blogs. There were blogs out there before. YouTube has helped bring attention to blogs that have been there. There's, Bounding into Comics. There's a lot of places. There's Star Wars, Disney Star Wars is dumb. There's a lot of people who are speaking truth to power. Actually speaking truth to power. Not agreeing with the power. Not bending the knee to the power. And, well, we all know what we've gone through over the last few years, and it came to a head with Gina Carano, of all people. But this has affected all fandoms. And, the fact that I think I was halfway through February, I was like, oh, my God, it's almost been a year. I got to mark the date. And then it just snuck up on me. You get busy. But it's been quiet on the Doctor Who front, other than rumors here and there. And what are we left with now? Complete apathy. The fandom is in absolute shambles. People, the only thing that's left are people arguing. And then fucking Doctor Who tweets yesterday. I don't know if it's got many more likes here. Let me pull this up. There we go. We got to talk about Dr. Seuss too a little bit. I do have to address that. Oh, there we go. Make sure my messages aren't up. So yeah, it's been 1 year since Series 12 ended. What was your favorite moment? And there were people responding. I think I saw one person go, one of their top 3 favorite moments was addressing Yaz's mental health issues. That had to be somebody who worked at the BBC. Come on. There might be one person on the planet going, oh my God, they totally addressed Yaz's mental health issues. What? Her ability not to stand up? Her ability not to do anything? Her ability to be praised for no reason whatsoever? Yeah, it has 1,448 likes. And there are 1.6 million followers of Doctor Who. I think I said something. Yeah, I just said it's been 1 year since. Yeah. They probably weren't very happy about that. Yeah. And no, I don't follow him. I can't. I mean, I'll just go check in once in a while, but I don't follow him. I had to put on a sweater. I know I look like Mr. Rogers, but it's raining. The water is coming from the sky in California, in Southern California. That doesn't happen very often. And when it does, Southern Californians huddle in their homes. I mean, just as much as they are because of lockdown, and get in the fetal position. And then when they drive, they forget how to drive. It's a horrible thing here in California. So, and then, we keep getting articles like this. Who in the hell wants Torchwood to come back? I mean, there was a time I wanted Torchwood to come back. I did. The show's hit and miss. It was more potential than actually being good. Season 3 was really good. Everything else completely hit and miss. There were some great episodes, and then there were some trash episodes. And that's probably because Chibnall was involved. Now, I guess the BBC is returning to a linear channel. I don't know why. Why would you want to return to broadcast when broadcast is dying? But okay. This is why government shouldn't run entertainment, folks. Just saying that as an American. As great as the BBC used to be, and it used to be so much better than American television in every way, shape, or form. But no, I don't want... John Barrowman came out and said he wants the next doctor to be transgender. And, well, considering that like literally already happened, the Time Lord has the ability now to change sexes, genders. I guess that would be trans, right? And it would work about as well as the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen. It would probably be worse. At this point, as with a lot of things, go ahead. Go ahead. You know what? Don't hold back anymore. Go as woke and intersectional as you possibly can. I mean, you already have anyway. I mean, just go that extra 10% and see what happens. And the reason they don't is because they don't believe in any of this shit, and they know it will fail. And it's been failure after failure after failure. And what entertainment does is they try to copy successes, and they are still, a lot of what is going on in Hollywood is because of the success of The Force Awakens and Wonder Woman, which are now years old, and trying to duplicate those successes has failed miserably because they never really entertained, like, what made it successful. Well, The Force Awakens was successful based on a lie from Disney's biggest lie. Disney started their brand on a lie, and that should really tell you what their whole game plan was. And the reason it's ended this way shouldn't surprise anyone, because they told everyone we were going to have Han, Luke, and Leia together in a movie, and they didn't. They lied. Luke didn't utter a line of dialogue. Jar Jar Abrams, by the way. Jar Jar Abrams. And Wonder Woman was a success because she is an established superhero who is very popular, who has been shown a lot of respect, been around for decades, and again is beloved by DC fans. And she's part of the Trinity. She's something Marvel doesn't have. A classic, popular, like ingrained into pop culture, an icon superhero. That's as much as DC as Superman and Batman. Marvel doesn't have anything like that. Probably their biggest failure. And they know it, so they try to create one with Captain Marvel. Good luck with that. But Wonder Woman was a success because people like her. They cast the right person for the role. They didn't, spend the entire film shitting on men, unlike its sequel. And people liked it. And was it because Zack Snyder was involved? I'm guessing yes now. Now that we have the complete picture, we have Wonder Woman written by Patty Jenkins without Zack Snyder, and we got Wonder Woman with Zack Snyder and his lovely wife. And one was better. One was a hit that damn near made $1 billion, and one wasn't. And it made a genuine $1 billion, and it was the one big DCEU hit in the theaters. Now, what gets forgotten with the DCEU is Batman versus Superman, whether you liked it or not, did very well. Did very well in Blu-ray sales. So, I mean, I'm not even angry anymore with Doctor Who. I am just kind of curious to see what happens. I'm going to report on it because I report on pop culture. But a lot of people are still very angry. This thing, if there was no Coof, this would have been much, much bigger news. Now, there are reports that they're going to come back with season 13 sooner, maybe August. It's on the nose, but the 13th Doctor and the 13th season, this is probably what's going to do the show in. Well, the show's been done in, and I don't know if it's because they had the money to spend already or was allocated. They went ahead and with the season, it's been shortened due to the Coof. But I tell you right now, if Doctor Who was successful, they wouldn't have shortened the season. They would have split it. They were even thinking about doing that already. But the fact that they shortened the season, I think, says kind of everything. And I don't know why they haven't announced Jodie leaving yet. Are they looking for another doctor, or are they thinking about just axing the show? Would it make a big difference to you? If Chibnall's still there, it doesn't matter who they sign up. And I think everyone said this. Chibnall's writing has been the worst part of the show. Doesn't matter if there was a dude or a woman in it. It would have been woke intersectional crap, and they would have just been shaming the doctor instead of, leading around 3 humans and 2 of them being complete nothings, and Yaz getting overpraised for, doing absolutely nothing except for sitting there. Yesterday at the gym, I was listening to some Murray Gold. I was listening to I Am the Doctor. There's a remixed extended version of it. It's so fucking good. It is so fucking good. And yeah, just thinking about the better days, and at least we had that. But there's no way in hell they can return the show to what it once was. And unfortunately, I think the only thing they can do, if somebody wants to genuinely fix this, is, obviously erase the last 2 years, which they're not going to do, or just completely reboot it. And I don't know if anybody's interested in that. I think part of the fun with Doctor Who, even when you got in late, was going back and watching the classic stuff and putting together the pieces and knowing that you really didn't miss that much because they didn't answer a lot of questions as far as the character of the Doctor. That was the best part about it. I don't think any Doctor Who fan wanted to ever know what the Doctor's name was, what his childhood was like, what his parents were like. A little story here and there, a little piece of information here and there is all we ever needed. But again, the making the Doctor a female was a panic move. It was a move. It was desperation. And then answering all these questions and then creating a new mystery was another panic move. Remember, the corporate answer to this is it's creating new stories to make it accessible for new people. Saying that all past Doctor Who was only accessible to what? White people? If that was the case, it wouldn't be popular. It wouldn't have lasted decades. So the lesson learned here is, well, obviously, get woke, go broke, but it's more importantly, is get intersectional, go broke. And what they're going to find out is you can only go to the well so many times. So even if you reboot this thing from scratch and you get somebody immensely popular, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough because most people don't want a headache from fucking Doctor Who. They don't go to Doctor Who for a headache. They go to Doctor Who for a little bit of enjoyment. They don't go there to get preached at. Same with Star Wars. And people just move on. Most people just move on very quietly. They just go, okay, I'm done. There's other books to read. There's other things to do. And in this time of the streaming wars, where they're introducing new shows, or in this time of the coup where people have looked back, started reading old comic books, started watching old shows, you're now not only competing with new stuff, you're competing with everything that's ever been made, which waters it all down. And now Doctor Who is competing against itself. Why would I watch this new shit when I can watch the old shit? It's so much better. And it's even much better watching it second or third time around, and I know what happens because I don't care what happens in the new shit. I can tell you what's going to happen in the new shit. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They've destroyed Gallifrey. They've destroyed the history of the Doctor. I don't give a damn where the little abandoned black girl comes from. I don't care about the Master anymore. I don't care about the Time Lord. They screwed up not only Doctor Who, they screwed up the Doctor, the Time Lords, Rassilon, Omega, Gallifrey, the Master, the Cybermen, all in 5 minutes. Let's say 10. That's impressive. That's impressive. You have to try to suck that much, Chibnall. Dude, you suck. You are the worst. I don't know how you get work. Oh, Broadchurch. Wow, it's so hard to write a bunch of people being depressed and sad and fucked up to each other. No, that's the easiest shit to do. That's called everyday life. That's why I don't like dramas. I'm not a fan of serious dramas of people sitting around a table and betraying each other and shit, because all I have to do is remember my life if I want any of that. I like being taken away. I like going somewhere new, seeing somewhere different. And not that because my life is horrible and meaningless. No, my life is great. I'm living my best life. But I still love this stuff. I've always loved this stuff. You can, there's just escaping to go check out something new. It's not escaping from something harsh. But you know what? That's what Doctor Who served that purpose too. After the Timeless Children, the most emails I got, and I can speak for Bolstrek because he got these emails too. I know Az did, and many others of stories of like how Doctor Who got somebody through some sort of hardship, a death of a family member, death of a brother, death of a sister, loss of a job, just general everyday diagnosed depression, bipolar disorder. Like it actually served a purpose. It was doing some good. And we don't want to like put too much importance. It's just entertainment, right? But if it can give you a little relief from pain or fear or just despair for a little while, and it keeps you going, resets you, I mean, that's what stories do. That's what good storytelling does. And that's where, things like Star Trek and Doctor Who, I think were perfectly suited for that. They were comfort food, Like, listen, occasionally Doctor Who and Star Trek could be very profound. But most of the time it was just, very light entertainment. But the people involved took it seriously, took it very seriously. And you can tell now the people involved now don't give a shit. They just want that Doctor Who on their resume. And they have no fucking idea what they're doing. They just know. And that's been part of the problem with, genre becoming the toast of the town in entertainment. And much to the chagrin of a lot of producers because the shit's expensive to make. But it's also very difficult to deal with fandoms because fandoms are very particular because they have been there the whole time. They actually know more than the creative. This is where the creative is kind of backed into a corner if they didn't do their proper research. And that's anybody who takes on Star Trek or Doctor Who or Star Wars has to do a lot of fucking homework. And if they're unwilling to do it, and if they go out there and openly make excuses for it, you're going to get shit. You're going to get shit because, nerds took a lot of shit from jocks, but the hierarchy is absolutely the same and always has been the same. You can come in here to our place, but we're going to put you through some trials and you're going to have to pass these basic trials and you're going to get some lumps, but eventually you will be completely accepted and you will do the same to the next person coming in. Was there a fair amount of gatekeeping too? Yeah, a little bit. And I think some of it's necessary, to be honest with you. But it was always the one thing inherent with all nerds and people who have passion for comics or Doctor Who or anything that I witnessed firsthand at my comic store for 10 years is people love sharing something good. They're like, I found this good thing and I want everybody to watch it. Just ask any 40K fan out there, Warhammer fan. They are trying to spread the love of the thing they love. Ask any anime fan out there. Those suggestions, they come out of a place of a really good place, a place of love, a place of passion. And I'm very happy to tell you that I just watched Superman and Lois, the second episode. It was really good. And they're setting up something really good. And I cannot believe I'm saying that from the CW, proving we are in bizarro timeline. And we'll talk about that a little later because I think CERN is to blame on this one. But damn, JJ, make your shitty Superman. I don't care. I'll watch this. And when people are spreading the love through your show, when they're trying to spread more positivity in the world through your show, that Doctor Who used to be that kind of show, used to be a great role model for boys, teaching you to use your mind first and to always be forgiving, never cruel, never cowardly. But that's all Doctor Who is now. It's cruel and cowardly. Went through, and the Doctor isn't perfect. He's extremely fallible, can be a complete asshole. And that's why the companions are important. And by making the Doctor female, in a lot of ways, you disrespected all the companions too. You didn't just disrespect William Hartnell by erasing the numbered Doctors. You erased the companions' legacy, who were the most important part of the show. The single most important, the Doctor carried us through these adventures, but we looked at everything through the companions' eyes. They were the human beings. They were the moral compass. They weren't just fucking damsels. Sarah Jane wasn't a fucking damsel. She would be at times, and then the Doctor would, she would flip the script on the Doctor. Back in the 70s. Oh, there was women and stuff in the 70s. Yes. In the 60s too. Doctor Who broke so much fucking ground and it's all been disrespected. Same with Star Trek. And these shows were so good. Whatever message you wanted to get across, you were actually getting it across to the most people possible because you weren't alienating them. You weren't preaching at them. And, when people always say Doctor Who and Star Trek have always been political, no, they've been moral. They have been moral. It's not being against war is not it used to not be a right-wing, left-wing thing. The script has certainly flipped on that one. But being against genocide is not a political issue. The baseline, using your terminology, everybody's against genocide. So that's always been disingenuous. But when you have to constantly lie to bolster your own agenda, how did Gina put it? Don't try to ruin my life with lies when I can ruin yours with the truth. The lies that have always been said about us, those of you in the chat, people who just simply want a good TV show, have been constant, and they have been backed up by the access media. And all it takes is a little bit of research to go watch any Geeks and Gamers video, any Heel versus Babyface video, any OMB reviews video, any Comics Division video, any RK Outpost video. Okay, he's a little bit of an asshole, but, he's my boy. Any Midnight's Edge video, any Doomcock video, just, watch the live streams for any amount of time. Any of those accusations fall apart. And one thing YouTube has proven, just ask a couple of YouTubers out there, especially a couple of them who have been throwing out a lot of accusations. You can't fake your way through live streaming for any amount of time here. You eventually, it's not a persona you can put on forever. Truth comes out. The truth comes out. All right. R.I.P. Doctor Who, folks. I'm very proud that hashtag still autofills on Twitter a year later. You've been using it a lot. And listen, there's been certain sex. There's been a lot of, not sex. You dirty-minded people out there. There's certain sex too. And there's been other hashtags. I have not talked about these other hashtags because, for one, I don't know everything that goes on Twitter. Very little of what goes on Twitter. And I know there's been a ton of drama between certain channels who cover Doctor Who, and I have no idea what caused it. I don't know where it's at right now. But I generally say keep your eye on the prize. Don't go after each other. Keep it on the BBC and the powers that be, Chris Chibnall. Keep it on their work, not their looks or their identity. Just keep it to their work. That's just how I try to do it. And call out their bullshit. But let's try to dial back going after each other over rumors or whatever. I have no idea what's going on again. I just saw a tweet from my good friend Bulls Trek who said, I live stream with anybody. And that's the best way to go. That's the best way to go. You got to dial back from that stuff because that stuff can tear things down. And it doesn't do anything any good at all. But I'm not your daddy either. I'm not going to tell you to behave. You do what you want, but personally, the drama stuff doesn't really help. So, and honestly, I don't know. I think we've made quite an impact. Just look at the ratings. To a point where other YouTubers have claimed it was our fault, but no, it's not my fault. It's not Bulls Trek's fault or Az's fault or Doomcock's fault. Chris Chibnall writes shitty stories, and people don't want to watch his shitty stories. It's really that simple. And in those shitty stories, he's extending a giant middle finger. So before each Doctor Who episode starts, it's a fuck you, and please watch our product. It's like, no, actually, no. So yeah, So here we are. The ratings are they're in the shitter, and they're not going to get much better. Here in the States, there was a slight bump. As finally found some ratings for the Festive Special. I've already forgot the title of The Revolution of the Daleks. Jodie Whittaker forgot the title too. She called it The Revolution of the Dalek. Had about 400,000 people watching it, but that was consolidated. That's not just overnight. That's everything. So 400,000 people watched that in a country of 331 million people. And it's also taking a pretty long break, but it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to watch this garbage anymore. And what happens to it? It dies, and that sucks. But we have a lot to enjoy, and it just depends on you what that line is. And we are going to talk about Bill Burr. One thing we are going to talk about that's not in the title is a little bit of the Snyder Cut as well. Because I made a brief appearance on the High Council, and thanks again, Jeff and Tom, for extending the invite. Got to talk to Jeremy, that Star Wars girl, and Mecha Random 42. And I was asked, what I was looking forward to. The Snyder Cut. I mean, are you going to say, have things gotten that bad? Kind of, but no, I am actually looking forward to the Snyder Cut because you know what? Time changes your perspective on things. Just ask any Star Wars prequel fan. Do the prequels not look a whole lot better than they did back then? I am not a prequel fan, by the way. I don't think they're very good movies. I would say the third is the best, but it's still not very good. And it's because of George Lucas's was very rusty as a director. I think by the third film, he started getting his feet under him, but he's never been a good writer and his dialogue is terrible. Listen, they're Shakespeare compared to the Disney trilogy. Shakespeare. And I think the same has happened in a way for the Snyder Cut and the DCEU. It has for me anyway. These aren't the greatest things ever made, but man, they're not filled with identity politics. There's a little here and there, But yeah, things have changed since then, and we'll talk about that. The purge is ongoing. Twitter has just removed Cameron Posh's Twitter account. They accused him of spamming. Yeah, he sent me a message saying that. That sucks. But I haven't noticed the Twitter purge yet. Usually my followers go way down when there's a purge, and I haven't seen that. So I think it was just Cameron. I'll double check though. I wouldn't be surprised anytime something slightly political happens. Now, there might be one going on. I can't say definitively there's not. But I can't say, yeah, Cameron's a good dude. Cameron's a good dude, and we're going to get him back on Friday Night Tights. And I'm sorry I can't see who sent that super chat. I will in just a moment. Dang it. There we go. I need to log into my Streamlabs. I didn't do that. It's so bad. Oh, I'm so happy to be live streaming. I missed you guys. I love doing this. This is my favorite thing. I like doing this more than I like making videos. And I like making videos. I do. But this is my favorite. Oh my God, it's March 3rd. So this month, there's going to be a lot of, I'm going to be traveling at the end of the month. So it's not going to affect Friday Night Tights. The Nooners will still happen. It's going to affect my streaming on other people's live streams for about a month. I am starting to look for a new house. Congratulations to Texas. You guys are open. We missed the red tier here in California by this much. So I think we're going to be a little more open next week where I can go inside of a gym and work out. I can't even go work out today because it's raining, so they don't open when it's raining. That's kind of a bummer. But yes, that was from Kit Kat for £5. Thank you, Kit Kat. I appreciate that. Now, Slimer Snarf, welcome to the Jaloja level. You will get to see a member stream this Sunday at 10:30 a.m. I appreciate it. The Zardoz for $10. This is a coincidence. I just had a nooner myself. Great show. Oh! Well, that's a happy coincidence, buddy. Everybody loves a nooner. And you can have a nooner. Like, it doesn't have to be at noon. So sad, Ranting Ryan, $4.99. Hashtag RIP Doctor Who. It is sad. It's not, I don't get enjoyment out of this. I would rather be talking about a successful Doctor Who that everybody enjoys. It would ultimately be better for my channel. It would. It would. But I didn't create this problem. You didn't create this problem. And this is a definitive problem. The BBC, Disney, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, CBS, they hired people who introduced partisan, extremist, in some cases, politics, and far worse, critical race theory and intersectional feminism. These have all been introduced into our entertainment, and now they're being preached like they're the gospel. And I mean preached by a certain sect of cultists who believe in this above all else, above money or anything. And they think that is the best path to profits. And what it really is being more detached from your customer. From your customer. Big Fat Nerd for £5. R.I.P. Doctor Who. You were once loved, respected, and admired. Now you have been destroyed. In the name of diversity and wokeness, you shall be missed. You shall be missed. But none of this new stuff. The one thing, the BBC and Doctor Who have to go about things the same way Star Wars does. Like, everything's fine. Everything's wonderful. But is it me, or do you never hear from Chris Chibnall? It's a lot like Kathleen Kennedy. When things are good, you hear from her. When things are bad, you don't. I never hear from Chris Chibnall. I have looked. There's a couple of interviews. I understand. Stephen Moffat, love him or hate him, was great. It was a great interview and an entertaining interview. And I think Moffat plays the woke game. I don't think Moffat's woke. Bro Duke for $4.99. Star Wars was made for about $45 million in today's money. Any chance it could happen again today with the right creative minds? Yes, Bro Duke. But these creative minds would have to be completely detached from a studio like Disney or Warner Brothers, who would meddle and keep them from creating their vision. I would argue that The Matrix, while not as, good as Star Wars, I think it was very similar. And it was created free of a lot of studio interference. They were forced and constrained by a small budget, and they came up with a great movie. Now, the directors are lunatics. A lot of directors are, but that movie by itself is a classic, great movie, and it was made the same way. It was trending on Twitter today. The SF Gate did an article today on Marsha Lucas. We'll talk about that because she was the unsung hero of Star Wars. Absolutely. Zathras for £2. Soon it'll be 2 years since Game of Thrones died in agony too. Oh, yeah. Oh, you want to hear one worse? It has been we're about a few days shy, 10 years since George R.R. Martin announced he finished A Dance with Dragons. It went into publication on July 12th, 2011, but it was March something where he announced that he was done with the book. Recently, George announced he's going to help develop a show for Roger Zelazny's book, Road Marks, and I'm sure that excites everyone. George, why do you need to develop a show? You're in your late 60s, early 70s. you only need to do one thing, and that's finish the book. If you're taking on other jobs, you're looking for excuses not to finish the book. I've said it before, I'll say it now, and it does not make me happy to say this. The winds of winter will never blow. Never going to blow. They are the broken winds of winter. Kit Kat for £5. The quartering is apparently under siege by a blizzard of false accusations and seems to be in danger of removal from YouTube. Geeks and gamers defending it. What is he being accused of? Kit Kat? What specifically is he being accused of? I saw Quartering's tweets, but I didn't see what the accusation was. Lethal Lightning for $2 says, I won't date a girl that you don't approve of. Well, Lethal, that's smart. That's smart. But Lethal, will you date a guy that I approve of? That's the question. We're just trying to be progressive here. Lethal, whoever you're thinking about, I approve. You have my blanket approval. You can now move on with your life, Lethal. I love Lethal Lightning. Go check out his channel. He's funny. Polaris Sucks for 2 Canadian pesos. Thank you for the hundreds of hours of content. You are welcome. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. Thank you all. I am grateful for you all. This is the best job in the world. Absolute best job in the world, and it's thanks to you guys. I look forward to this every day. This is my favorite thing to do, is chat with you. I could do it every day. And maybe someday I will. Maybe someday I'll just do the live streams every day. You never know. Got to grow the channel, though. What if we make a goal of, I don't know, I don't think I'll ever hit 1 million, but maybe 500,000? I don't know. We'll see. But you guys have been the light at the end of the tunnel, the ray of hope out there. You inspire me every day. You have shown me that there's still common sense in the world. And quite frankly, you help break the narrative that the world is insane. It's not actually insane. No, the mainstream media, big tech, Hollywood, they have gone insane. But you haven't. The Blank podcast with Ian Slater for $5 says, will there be a destruction of Hollywood with the woke, or are we in for more BS? Will new creators be effective? What are your thoughts and your opinion? That is a big question. Hollywood is in decline. Yes. Destruction? No, I don't think it'll ever be destroyed. It'll always be around. But will it always be the number one destination for entertainment? Well, I would argue it's not anymore. There's a bigger fish out there, and it's gaming. Something I don't even really partake in, but I will acknowledge that the interactivity is quite a lure, and also that's where the most creative people are going right now. That's where the best, I don't know if it's the most money to be made, but if you are a game designer, that's kind of equal to a rock star now. As a matter of fact, gamers will laugh at, rock star. What's a rock star? No, that's where the new rock stars are. So Hollywood is in decline, and they're going through a paradigm shift. And now with no movie theaters, they were forced to dive into streaming and look at every other industry that has gone digital. It is contracted. Now some have survived. Music is doing okay, but the biggest problem with streaming services is you can screw over the creator 9 ways to Sunday now. And the creator is not going to want, the top talent is not going to want to work with you, and they're not going to want to give you their best. They're going to hold it back because you're screwing them over 9 ways to Sunday. Let's go to Disney. How many times has Disney screwed over a creative? We could talk about Alan Dean Foster, who hasn't been paid for his residuals for, I don't know, writing the adaptation to Star Wars. It wasn't George Lucas. It was Alan Dean Foster who wrote it. The guy's a legend among us older Star Wars fans. And Disney's not paying him. George Lucas could step in any minute and doesn't. Because I think Disney can actually screw these people over. And I think George knew it. And George didn't tell anybody. So before we deify George Lucas, creative mastermind, one of the most important people in Hollywood's history, I understand, but he ain't no angel. Disney is screwing over Bill Nye. I mean, I don't like Bill Nye. I'll be upfront. Not a Bill Nye. Bill Nye, the engineer guy. He's not really a scientist, but he's owed his money for his work. And they're screwing him over. And then, of course, they film next to concentration camps. And then they thank the concentration camps to film a cringe movie for China that then China resoundingly rejected. And we're far enough in the live stream to talk about China yesterday. According to Breaking 911 Twitter, so I'm sourcing them, said that China, I guess the government said that being gay can now be considered a mental disorder. What's your comment on that, Disney, Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, all the Bobs, Pablo Hidalgo, Freddie Prinze Jr., Pedro Pascal? What's your comment on that? Because your company does a lot of business with that government. Didn't Disney refuse to film in Georgia over the bathroom issue or something? Am I remembering that incorrectly or not? Something like that. I think this is a little bit worse than that. That 70s rock fan, welcome to the Gandalf level. Hail. Member stream, and you're going to get a brand new perk as well. Thank you, that 70s rock fan. Saw Dog for $20. I'm fairly new to Doctor Who. My girlfriend had got me into it about 2 years ago. Now, if we rewatch any episodes, we always exclude Dr. Karen. Love the work you do. Thank you. And yes, if you want to continue to enjoying the show, just stop at Peter Capaldi. Now, those episodes are pretty damn woke. The 12th Doctor calls out Trump by name, says history was whitewashed when it wasn't. But those were lines written by Stephen Moffat, who I think was just trying to please his for lack of a better term, his masters at the BBC. But he still did it. Yeah, and it was unwatchable. So I would stop at season 8, 50th anniversary. And there's people who would stop before that. I am a big fan of the Matt Smith era. I just am. Shogun, not Shotgun Gaming, for 14 Danish krona gives a phallic unicorn. A phallic unicorn. Thank you very much. Eskimono Funo. Can't believe they did what they did to Doctor Who. I can't believe it either, but they did it, and it's a year later. And the best way to describe it, well, the Critical Drinker came up with the best way to describe it, but I'll have well, it's just not as good as his, but I'll do it for Star Wars fans. Imagine if Luke Skywalker had originally been born Princess Leia, and Palpatine and Yoda found that, no, it can't even be Palpatine and Yoda. Who can it be? Well, it's got to be a new character. Admiral Holdo finds young Princess Leia at a portal and finds out that Princess Leia, who is going to turn into Luke was the Force. So Princess Leia extracts that by killing Princess Leia over and over again. And then eventually Princess Leia becomes Luke. And you find out that, the Force was all bullshit. Jedi, Sith, doesn't matter. It was all extracted from a little child by one person. It's a clumsy description, I know, but that's essentially what they did. The Time Lords were a major part, obviously, of Doctor Who. They were very, very ambiguous. They were never good. They were never bad. They're very bureaucratic. But they weren't evil. There was one that was pretty evil and one that was made evil later. But it's interesting what they did, right? And they always had a set origin, and we knew that time travel came from Rassilon and Omega, and the tragedy of Omega is something I really wish they would explore more of. I love it. And they've done a lot of stories in Big Finish that I haven't, that by the way, that counts in canon until it doesn't, that I haven't listened to, that might have changed a lot of stuff. But it was fascinating because they would tell you just enough, right? Big Finish was, I'm looking at it right now. They did the Time War, and I was here. Looking at it right now. Like, I was liking this stuff. I was. But they just undid it all. They undid. So, there was the first through the 13th Doctor. That doesn't count anymore. There is, like, Tom Baker, who has been known, his brand is the fourth Doctor, is now the Tom Baker Doctor. And William Hartnell, who has been known forever and will always be the first Doctor, is now the William Hartnell Doctor. And they just thought it was okay to undo that. When you can change almost anything about Doctor Who, except for about 3 or 4 things. You can't change the TARDIS. You can't change fucking Gallifrey. The Doctor's male. And William Hartnell's the first. You can fuck around with a lot of stuff outside of that. But you got to keep certain rules. I mean, if you want to extend regenerations, certainly. They've already done that. They weren't really clear on the extension that Peter Capaldi got. I was just under the assumption it was 12 again, but I could have been wrong. And it was a show you could have played with a lot of ways. Now, the obvious solution would be, if you want to bring more women into Doctor Who, well, they don't want to acknowledge how you bring more women into Doctor Who. You make the Doctor extremely good looking, and you give him a hot companion. That will bring women into Doctor Who. Sorry to bring the bad news to you, intersectionalists, but there were more women watching Doctor Who with Eccleston, with David Tennant, with Matt Smith, than there were with anyone else. And arguably, I would say Peter Capaldi was probably more popular with women than he was with men. Women love the silver fox. They love the daddy bear. They do. They do. Hate to break this to you, Hollywood and BBC. This is shit you used to know. And now that America factors into this shit, I guarantee you that's what America wants. America wants a young, it doesn't have to be like, no, perfectly good looking is bad. It's got to be just miss good looking by this much. You got to be kind of professory, dorky, good looking. That's what a doctor needs to be. And a really hot companion. That's charming too. That's what will bring your female audience back, your male audience back, the kids back. Aspirational heroism, really basic shit. But they refuse to believe it. They've bought into the doctrine of the diversity and inclusivity initiative, which is our strength is our diversity, and a diversity of thought, of ideas. Yes, absolutely agree with. Has nothing to do with skin color. You got to fire Chris Chibnall. You got to bring in a dude. I don't care what the skin color of that dude is. And he's got to be good looking. Yep. And Capaldi in his way. I mean, Capaldi was not like, he's not good looking in the way that, Tennant or Smith is. But again, there's a certain attractiveness that the ladies like. They love the silver fox, like I said before. Gary B., Chief Pertwee figure ships this month. Oh, no way. Hate giving BBC money, but the 3rd, 4th Dr. Signature series are my first 1/6 scales, and they're my favorite characters. Well, enjoy that. Enjoy that. I actually canceled my orders. I did. But as soon as they hit eBay secondhand, I will nab them, and they will. And you got to get it quick because they'll be gone. But I'm not going to judge you. Those look good. Those figures look damn good. Damn good. North Free for 20 Canadian pesos, ladies and gentlemen. In an age which has truly become dark, the quartering needs your help. Please support him in any way you can. Justice is no longer simply blind, but deaf, dumb, racist, and sexist. Take care, everyone. North Free, thank you for the 20 Canadian pesos. Again, I need to know what happened. So, Eric K, you out there, buddy? Thanks for being here, by the way. There you are. There's my lead wrench. Could you text me if you know what happened with the quartering? Could you text me and let me know, and then I can respond to it? Because we just had the quartering on Friday Night Tights. I like Jeremy. I'm a subscriber. I don't know what happened, and I would like to know what happened, and I will absolutely defend him if this is what I'm guessing is a probably false accusation. But thank you for bringing it to my attention. I would never ask this, but Marvel is banning my hex cipher from Reddit and Facebook. Could you please consider retweeting my pinned tweet at Catane Soul? Well, why are they banning it? Why are they banning it? I mean, I'll look into that for sure. Certainly. Hang on just a moment. I will. Hi, everybody. That sucks. All right. Tell you what, I'll look into that after the show. It's a little too complicated to get into now. And let's see if Eric has responded. Yes. Okay. Pulled off the road at Starbucks. Oh, okay. So you're on the road. All right. Could somebody DM me on Twitter out there and let me know? Okay. While we're waiting for that, let's talk about the Bill Burr, Gina Carano stuff. My God, they're going after J.K. Rowling again? Really? Like, for real? All right, now, John Trent wrote a spicy article yesterday that we're going to go over. I got to get to the right page, though. That's not it. There we go. I'm not going to say I agree with all this, but that's what, I don't agree with everything from everybody. But Gina Carano has become Disney Star Wars' worst nightmare. Now, I think the book is closing on like the news cycle, but thanks to you, this is an ending. And nobody asked anybody to do this, but the Star Wars YouTube channel is getting destroyed. It's getting destroyed. Everything they put up gets disliked, and you're just saying over and over again, don't try to destroy my life with lies when I can destroy yours with the truth. I'm paraphrasing on that quote. It's fucking great. I think it's wonderful. And I don't really see anybody being like particularly foul, throwing cuss words at them, calling them this or that. I think throwing facts in their face is the best way to do this if you're going to go about to do this. Now, nobody wants anybody to go after any individuals or anything, but you know what? When you make a comment on a Kathleen Kennedy video or a Star Wars video, that is your God-given right as a world citizen, as an American. And it's beautiful. And yes, it's become their worst nightmare. And I don't, this is something that was thrusted upon. All Gina did was tweet some shit. That's all she did. And it's Twitter and the freaking blue checkmark mafia that's made this a problem. She just tweeted some shit, some political shit. And unlike Bill Burr, I have zero problem with what she said. Zero problem. And you know what? For the most part, if you're supporting, Biden or whoever, and you're just supporting that person, I don't give a fuck. Go ahead. All day long. But when you start demonizing the opposition, or you start suppressing the fucking truth, that becomes a problem too. Believe me, there's big fucking problems out there. Or you just simply don't want to see the truth because you're partisan. That's a problem too. But with Gina, they needed to get this nasty little narrative breaker out of there because, oh my God, it's not about strong and powerful women. It's about kneeling. It's about subjugating yourself. It's about obeying. And she just had a different opinion, and she was new to this stuff. And destiny came a-calling, and she answered. Not everybody does. Not everybody does. She decided to risk her career to take on the machine, Disney, to fight a fight she can't win. She is fighting a fight and starting a fight that somebody way down the line, or a lot of us way down the line, could maybe win. A long battle that she will not win. So you can understand why why people wouldn't answer the call, right? These things happen in life, and they're not always fun. They're not always smart. There's a Doctor Who quote about that, by the way. And maybe Gina had fuck you money, and maybe she understood that if I make this move, like financially, and more importantly, for my own integrity, this is actually going to probably be better for my career. And it was. The problem is she is now permanently locked out of the Hollywood party. But now she has her own brand. She can produce her own shit. She's free to do whatever the fuck she wants. And she is set. Because she stood for something. She fucking backed it up. Was willing, lost something for it. and did it very publicly. And then went out, responded, and changed the narrative that Disney was going to create. And you know what? It was fucking brilliant, because with that interview with Ben Shapiro, she was calling out Disney. She's like, all right, come on, fucking say something. Say something, bitches. Because after they came out and said her abhorrent behavior, disparaging groups and religious people, which was a fucking lie, she straight up was like, all right, let's do this. So she said her piece, and we heard fucking nothing from Disney. Now, over the course of the next couple of weeks, are we going to hear leaks? Was she a problem on set? Blah, 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 blah. Yes, we are. We absolutely are. And those are going to be from Lucasfilm. But Disney achieved their goal. They sent the message to anybody who wanted to defend her or anybody who wanted to get out of line. Oh, we don't care how fucking popular you are. Our image matters more than any of you, than any of these pretended causes, than Time's Up, Me Too. Yeah, where the fuck is Time's Up, Me Too? Where are they? Crickets. Of course. Nobody's surprised by that. So Bill Burr simply praises Gina Carano. This was not, I repeat, not a defense. Do I blame Bill Burr? Still, no, I don't. It's easy for me to sit here in my room surrounded by my plastic pals and judge somebody. Would I do so? I don't know what I would do in the same situation. I think I'd know what I'd do. But let's just throw out a scenario here, because Bill Burr, for one, I have tons of respect for Bill Burr. I think he's a damn good comedian. He's not quite like Chappelle, but he's a damn good comedian. And dude, he might be against PC culture, but he is definitely on one side, on the opposite side of the aisle of Gina. Does not agree with Gina. And I completely disagree with his assessment that she said something uneducated and uninformed. No, brother. I think she was more informed than you, to be honest with you. Did you look into what she said? Now, I did a video on this. We listened to the audio, and it was actually Joe DeRosa who was calling it out. So props to Joe DeRosa for calling it out. Bill was in a tough position. He was in a tough position. I understand that. Now, my boy John F. Trent comes out swinging on him. Bill Burr shouldn't be praised. He's a coward. And so are his Mandalorian co-stars. Technically, yes, they are. But when things are thrust on you when you're not expecting them, I would love to say I always made the right decision. No, I didn't. It takes time to process stuff, and they could still come out and say more. I think there's still time. Do I wish they would have said more? Yes. Would it have stopped this? Would it be important? Would it help stop cancel culture? Yes. Would they get crushed? Probably. But Bill Burr, I would argue, could get 5 years worth of material if they try to cancel him. He would rise from the ashes. He would be a bigger star than he is now. His brand of comedy is right there in the same arena, the same area of Dave Chappelle, who is, I don't give a fuck. I'm Mr. I don't give a fuck. There's nothing you can say that'll fucking fuck you. I'm from Boston. Fuck you. Blah, blah, blah. Right? Okay. Here's your biggest opportunity to flip the biggest bird of your life. That's right in your wheelhouse that you could do fucking comedy concept albums on. That would be fucking legendary shit. This is your moment, Bill. This is the universe going, this is why I created you. I made you for this. And you're going, I don't want to take on Disney. I don't want to take on Disney. Let me tell you, Bill Burr's not going to win Academy Awards. He's not going to be Robin Williams. He couldn't even get rid of his Boston accent in Star Wars, which is fine. He's Bill Burr. He's going to be Bill Burr and everything. Now, even Dave Chappelle, who I think has the talent to be a great actor, I mean, he's just basically Dave Chappelle. I mean, I saw him in A Star is Born. He was pretty damn good in that, but he was still Dave Chappelle, you know. This is what, Bill, this is like, you should be ripping this shit. Fuck this job. Fuck Star Wars. You're all a bunch of fucking nerds anyway. And look at these nerds taking out this strong female, blah, 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 blah. There's a million ways to go that would make you bank. Absolute bank. Would you lose a couple of jobs here and there? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. But maybe not, because all you're doing is defending a peer, a fellow actress. And I doubt they're even, friends or anything like that. But this is a great career opportunity that he's completely missing. That would thrust him into legendary status. And the clock is ticking, Bill. The clock is ticking. I say you probably have until Friday to just fucking lay the wood to Disney. It's a risk. It's a big risk. But if I was your representation, which I'm not, that's what I'd be telling you to do. Probably fire me the next day, but I'll be all, dude, do you want to have bit parts in the 4th remake of Cinderella playing yourself? Like, do you want to be the Tim Conway of the 21st century? Or do you want to be Lenny fucking Bruce? A living Lenny Bruce. A living Bill Hicks. Do you want to be as popular as Dave Chappelle? Or at least in the stratosphere, close to him. Nobody's going to be that problem. David Chappelle is the king of comedy. End of story. But, I mean, people would fucking love you for this if you just came out and just roasted the shit out of the Mouse, the Kennedy, the Lucasfilm, Star Wars. So many things you can do. Missed opportunity. So, yeah. I mean, but again, easy for me to sit here and say that. And I'm just a simple guy. Let's see what John says. A Jedi's strength flows from the Force, but beware of the dark side. Anger, fear, aggression, the dark side of the Force are they. Easily, they flow quick to join you in a fight. If once you start down the dark path forever, it will dominate your destiny. Consume you. Consume you? It will. Those are the words of Master Yoda spoke to Luke Skywalker, and they are words the entire company at Disney and specifically Lucasfilm need to hear. But it might be too late. Lucasfilm, and especially the people who work on The Mandalorian, appear to be consumed by fear, dominated by it. Yep. Without a doubt, John, they are scared to death. Hollywood is scared to death, and they are no longer scared to death of the Bob Igers or the Kathleen Kennedys. No. They're scared to death of something they cannot control, a monster of their own creation. Cancel culture. None of them have an ounce of courage to stand up for their canceled castmate, Gina Carano. None of them. Most of them haven't even spoke about it whatsoever in public, including executive producers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Yes, I'm hearing a lot of John is upset. I can tell you right now, Dave Filoni doesn't give a fuck. He's probably glad she's gone. But Jon Favreau specifically picked her, so I can imagine he's upset, but he ain't saying shit. Jon Favreau's a legend already, I would say. Just for Swingers alone. If you haven't seen Swingers, man, that's a great movie.
That's a great movie. Maid's pretty good too. Elf. Everybody loves Elf. I think he's got enough money to live off the rest of his life, but he still wants to be at the party. He still wants the invite to the party. This ain't about money. This isn't about money. And that, I can't judge him for that. I could be disappointed though. Now, I mean, like, let's be real about this. Again, it's easy for us to come out swinging. What I think happens as this starts to degrade the situation at Lucasfilm, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. And I'm sure there's already compromises Jon Favreau has made, but he was happy to make because it was a happy, joyous, and free set. Now it's not going to be. And those compromises are going to be a little harder to make each time till, well, he eventually quits. And if they lose Jon Favreau, and who knows, maybe Dave Filoni wants Jon Favreau gone. Maybe Dave Filoni wants to run everything. He's certainly a corporate guy. Again, it's just my speculation. Now, Carano did reveal in her interview with Ben Shapiro that some people did stand up for her internally. She stated, "I know there are some people that went to bat for me, but I know they didn't really win out in the end. But the fact of the matter is none of them have made any public statements about Carano's firing whatsoever." No. And hell, as Pedro Pascal could have been one of those people. Could have very well been one of those people. And the one person who has spoken out about it readily admits that he's controlled by fear. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And I does that affect Bill Burr's reputation? That's the question. Comedian Bill Burr, who plays Miggs Mayfield on The Mandalorian, recently discussed Carano's firing back on February 24th on the Bill Burt podcast, episode 49. By the way, I want to give proper credit where credit is due. While Tom did bring this to my attention from Midnight's Edge on the Inquisition in the live stream, I do believe it was Foul Ball Productions was the first person to make a video on this. Well, Foul Ball Productions is a member of this channel. He's a channel member and a good guy, covers The Expanse. So shout out to Foul Ball Productions. Eric, if you were kind enough to put a link to his channel or maybe that video. I think he's under 1,000 subs. I'd love to see him get to 1,000 subs. That would make me so happy. Like last time I checked, it was 691. It could be a little more, a little less, not sure. But he covers television. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. So hail Foul Ball Productions. While discussing Carano's firing, Burr states, "I'm on that effing show. Now I got to watch what I effing say." Yep, you do. Or do you? Do you really? The fact that, I put it out there and others too, that maybe Bill has said too much already, and he hasn't said shit. He hasn't said shit. Now, we've been, there's revelations in this podcast. Let's get to, I can't remember the timestamp. But there's one where Joe DeRosa says, "Hey, the other side have been using the Yahtzee analogies forever and nothing's happened to them. But when a conservative does it, it's the electric chair." And again, I'm just paraphrasing on what both of them said. And we've been saying this for years, like literally years for this. And it's okay if Hollywood is starting to wake up to it, but you better start waking up to it because the company you work for, Bill Burr, just made it okay to cancel you. So the longer you go without calling it out, the better the chance your ass is on the chopping block. So are you going to go out on their terms or your own? It's only a matter of time. Bill, you're a comedian. We're going to have a comedian on this Friday night, and I think it's great. I think it's perfect timing. Kurt Metzger makes his triumphant return to Friday Night Tights this Friday, and we're going to talk about comedy and how you do fucking comedy now, because you can't. Not in the current Hollywood system. The system that wants to cancel things like Dr. fucking Seuss, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you can't do comedy now. And if you do, you're never going to fucking work in Hollywood. Kiss off that sitcom. The shit, you know, honestly, what we got, Kurt Metzger, Kyle Dunnigan, Ryan Long, you know, out there. They're not going to get sitcoms, but they are right now, they are on the cutting edge of comedy. Because otherwise, it's a bunch of fucking clones doing Orange Man jokes even after the Orange Man is gone. I mean, like Saturday Night Live, well, sucks. They took a crack at Gina Carano. Tools for the system now. They're just fucking tools and tools for the system. It's clear he's in fear of losing his role as Mayfield, and Disney decides to falsely claim that he's denigrating people based on their culture and religious identities. That's, again, this is a lie that cannot be forgotten. Disney, that's your fucking legacy now. Lucasfilm, that's your legacy now. Until you correct that, you come out and say that was too strong of a statement, retract that. I mean, if anybody from Lucasfilm is running a press conference, if there's any fucking journalists out there with an iota of sack, they need to ask them what they meant about that question and ask them to cite specifics. That's what they did to Carano. A spokesperson revealed Carano had been fired back in February through a statement that read Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. So, yeah, they leveled up. They didn't just disgrace somebody. They lied. Now, studios lie all the time, but this one's despicable. The simple step of a courageous individual is not to take part in the lie. One word of truth outweighs the world. Just tweeted out on March 1st. Meantime, edgy, badass Bill Burr, who I like, edgy badass Bill Burr, is afraid to speak out against Disney. So is Jon Favreau. So is Carl Weathers. Carl Weathers and Bill Burr have said something. I'll give them that. But this isn't easy. This isn't easy. If you say something against Disney, you will lose your job, and you will probably have a very hard time working in Hollywood. Something you have worked your entire life for, fought for, struggled for. So, yeah, it's easy for me to say, I don't know. I've lost something I worked not a lifetime for, but a long time for. I've lost a couple of things like that. And I find that through hard work, determination, honesty, that you can get something different back that might mean as much to you. And like I said before, I think it's a great career. I think this would boost Bill Burr's career, actually, just like this is boosting Gina Carano's career. I think as time goes on, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to find that the mouse isn't as strong as they want you to think they are. And their brand isn't shiny anymore. It's becoming a bit stale because they don't innovate shit. They buy shit. And the things they buy, well, people will get tired of them. People are going to get tired of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It might have already happened. I don't know. Shit doesn't last forever. Superhero films have gone on for a good long time, longer than I thought they would last. I'm impressed. They've done very well. But nothing's going to survive intersectionalism and wokeness. Nothing. Not even the MCU. Don't believe me? Why aren't they making a Captain Marvel 2 with just Captain Marvel? It's $1 billion movie. That should be enough to show that we don't need any other characters distracting for Brie Larson. It's $1 billion movie. We should have another $1 billion movie. Based on everyone's argument, it was a success. Why do they have to fill her movie with like 90 Avengers? Because they know she's unlikable. They know it won't happen again. Why did they kick the can down the road with Black Panther, even prior to Chadwick Boseman's unfortunate illness that cost him his life? May he rest in peace. He was a good Black Panther. Why weren't they in a hurry? The thing was a fucking huge hit. Well, Disney's going to have to answer that question. I have no idea. People get tired of shit. So Disney's not innovating anything. Star Wars is in decline. The MCU doesn't have to be in decline, but it is because of intersectionalism and wokeness. Otherwise, we would have already heard who the Fantastic Four are if it wasn't for intersectionalism and wokeness. Disney is being very careful and political about how they choose the Fantastic Four, who are not going to look like they did in the comic books, and neither are the X-Men. So Disney is vulnerable right now. That's what I'm saying. They're relying on a streaming service that's doing very well. It's doing very well. That's not going to be profitable for any time soon. Their parks aren't open, yet their stock is doing good, I guess. It's up and down. It's doing good. And the one good thing they had going was The Mandalorian, and Kathleen Kennedy fucked it up. So Bill Burr, I think if you want your stock to go up, you call Disney out, or you play it safe. And those heights you were shooting for, chances are you're not going to achieve them. Because what's going to be in the back of everyone's mind? He kind of pussed out with the fucking Gina Carano thing. He could have called her out, but he pussed out a little bit. He tucked it a little bit. And I'm not talking his tail between his legs. I'm saying he tucked it. The only person who was standing up is Gina Carano. Just like I said in my video. She tells Shapiro, the thought of this happening to anybody else, especially like somebody who could not handle this the way I can, no, they can't get to do that. They don't get to make people feel like that. And if I buckle, then little girls and little boys who are not getting a good fair shake at growing up right now. No, they're not. They're not. As a dad right now, not real happy about the situation. One decision I've absolutely made is my son is leaving fucking public school, not to return. This will be his last year. And it sucks. It was his freshman year in high school. It's going to be difficult as hell. But public school in California has gone insane. It's gone absolutely insane, just like the system. And there's preppers out there who are just fucking happy. It's like, I told you so. I told you so. While Carano was actually standing up for it, Burr makes platitudes about how awful cancel culture is just this week, as reported by The Hill. A new Caps Harris poll shows that 64% of 64% of the respondents believe that cancel culture posed a threat to freedom in the U.S. It's a threat. It is. But Bill Maher put it in his video. By the way, Bill Maher is a shithead, but occasionally he can say something that makes sense. But basically, he told us for one, more than 80% of people are against cancel culture. There was a couple of dimwits from ET Canada. That one, it was in Robot Head, did one of the best videos on this, by the way, on the whole Gina Carano thing. Robot Head and Drinker did a good video too. Mine's okay too, but like Robot Heads was really fucking good. Go check it out after this live stream. But nobody's for cancel culture, but everybody's afraid to speak up. Well, you guys aren't afraid to speak up. You're speaking up all the fucking time. We're speaking up all the time. But we can't yes, we can change it. Don't buy this shit. Do not pay for anybody who's a corporate sponsor of cancel culture. And right now, Disney is a corporate sponsor of cancel culture. And until they come out and retract what they said to Gina, I would say hire her back, but I doubt she would go back. I would recommend that she don't go back. Not that she's listening to me. And it's not just firing Kathleen Kennedy. Oh, no. This statement right here, fuck that. Not letting that one go. And in one of my brief correspondence to Miss Carano, I said I promised I would not let this one go, that none of us would on Friday Night Tights, that we're going to remind them. And you have been reminding them every fucking day. And you make me so proud. I fucking love you guys. I love the internet because ultimately they can try to silence you here and there, and you'll just find another place to keep telling them the fucking truth. Bless you guys. Bless you all. Oh, stop it. Let's get to some, we got some donations here we're going to talk about, but I guess, what the fuck is going on with YouTube? What the hell, really? So the infrastructure for YouTube seems to be degrading a little bit. So I guess this is a good time to mention that while my focus will always be here on YouTube, I'm not going anywhere. There is a backup site, Odyssey. I like their platform. They are communicative. I think there is great potential at Odyssey. So everything is backed up on Odyssey, and it's OD. I gotta remember. It's ODYSEE. And it was, if you want to find it, I think there's a link on my Twitter. There's a link in on all my web. If you go to my website, any of my posts, there's a link in there too. But my channel is there. And yeah, right now I can't see anything. I don't know if I'm even broadcasting to you guys right now, but I'm just going to keep going like I am. There we go. Yeah, no clue what's going on. None whatsoever. All righty then. So let's go to a couple of donations here. We've got Big Worm for $15 says, my boys and I are reading from number one. It's great. Thanks for the tip. What are you reading? Oh, okay. And another comic series storylines digitized like this. I love Batman and Superman. Live long and prosper. Yeah, Batman and Superman, the comic series that was started by Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness. It's fucking fantastic. I own every issue. It's one of the best runs they've ever done. And yes, Jeff Loeb, the horrible TV producer for Marvel, is a great comic book writer. He's a great comic book writer. He just can't write TV for shit. Hail, Gary. Off topic. I bought the X-Men comic collection DVD from Amazon you told me about last week. I wrote some software to split up the scanned pages into singles, printing the books on 8.5 by 11. Continued. Okay. And okay, that's what that was before. Yeah. So Marvel did these CD-ROMs. They did Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 500, Fantastic Four 1 through 500, X-Men 1 through 500, and others. And they did it on just raw CD-ROMs. There's no security on them whatsoever. It's all PDFs. So that's how that shit got out there. And you can read it all. Yeah, I've got them. Sean X for $3. I found your channel about 9 months ago from watching Critical Drinker channel. Been thinking of starting a YouTube channel myself. Well, Sean X, do it. Just do it. And just start covering what you love. And eventually you'll find out if you like it or not. It seems like the long form stuff is getting finally many years in more traction, which is playing to my strength. So that's good. That's good. Yeah. And you could just babble. Hollywood is in decline because it's got too much damn competition now. For one, they have muddied the waters and it's like white noise out there. So it's harder to compete. These bigger franchises they've destroyed. And now people are we're going to each other. We're doing our own shit. And that's what my generation, one good thing for my generation, Generation X, was DIY. We did our own shit. We found stuff to do because our parents were gone all the time. We didn't whine about it. We just figured out what to do. Now, some of us were more creative than others, and some of us really wanted to just get high and party, which is what I did. But I did creative stuff too. The Scapegoat for $3. Truth sounds like hate for those who hate truth, and lying always starts with self-deceit. By the way, just a thought, Gina Carano might be fully aware and involved in her firing, kind of a psyop to add fuel to the divisiveness. To me, this is the thing I find a bit fishy. No. I if you want to talk about, so you think it's just something that Lucasfilm and Gina Carano cooked up together to keep the divisiveness going? No. Sorry. No. I love a good psyop. No. What you could argue before, which I was willing to listen to until I actually talked to Gina Carano, like briefly in a message, and have heard, I've talked to Drunk too. You could have laid out that it might have been a psyop if they didn't fire her, right? If this whole shit was going on. But no, it was a genuine thing. It was an actual genuine thing. I can promise you that. There's a couple things I know that I cannot say that absolutely confirm that it's not a psyop. Also, she was fired unceremoniously and lied about horrifically. I don't think anybody would agree to that. That's why when I heard the somebody leaked this to the press. Was it Doomcock who did this rumor? Somebody leaked it to the press to try to save her job. No, they didn't. And if they did, they're freaking retarded. I mean, like, no, nobody trying to save her job would make the statement that they made, which I will reread again, which was denigrating people based on their culture and religious identities. That didn't help Gina at all. That was there that was a twist of the knife. Blue Paladin 24 for $20. Hope this is enough to bribe you to look at Dr. Ron Wyatt archaeology for an exozone. Well, we got some good news on the exozone front, folks. YouTube has dialed back their policy on UFOs. Like, channels are starting to come back. And I don't know what's behind that. I think YouTube realized that a lot of people watch that shit. That was the main reason I came to YouTube back in the day, was for UFO shit and woo-woo stuff. So yeah, I mean, if I could put an exozone on the main channel without fear of repercussion from YouTube, I certainly would, because I love that shit. And I do it on Nerdrotic Live, which, listen, would already affect my channel. All three of my channels, they're all connected. They're not separate. So if one channel does something wrong, it all gets affected. So I don't know. I'm in my channel's in good standing with YouTube, so I could probably talk about UFOs and I'd be fine. Tim Criddle for $5. I used to think intersectional feminist was a derogatory term. Based on how you talk about it, does what it does, then I saw it in a profile for someone who was hired. I used to think intersectional feminist was a derogatory term. It is, by the way, based on how you talk about it and what it does. And then I saw it in the profile for someone who was hired for Wheel of Time. And then I was sad. Yes, Tim, be sad, because the Wheel of Time is going to be woke as hell based on everything I've heard. I've heard they've made major character changes, so it'll be more of a female-centric story, which I've only read the first few chapters. I didn't take it as a female-centric story. Phoenix Tangent for $5.99. Disney is barely breaking even on both its profit and cash utilization. If I were Chapek and Iger, I would lay off all Lucasfilm, collateral damage and all, and blame the coof. Kathleen Kennedy can preside over a wasteland. Yeah. Lucasfilm is Star Wars. It has nothing else to offer. Indiana Jones, maybe you can squeeze out another little turd, but it's got nothing else to offer. And it's Star Wars. Star Wars is not a healthy brand. If it were a healthy brand, you wouldn't need The Mandalorian. It's on the upswing. Things were happening again. They were selling shit again, but we're talking comparatively against billions of dollars. So what The Mandalorian is bringing in is hundreds of millions of dollars, which is good, but is it bringing in billions? And I mean upon billions, not a billion, like multiple billions. And the answer is no. And that's what that brand needs to bring in for it to be viable. They've announced 10 shows, and Disney has managed to not fuck up a single one. A single one. Everything Disney Star Wars has produced, there's been problems. And that is leadership. Kuczynski for $5. Gary, I think these woke interventions we've been seeing infect our favorite franchise. Reminds best of, God, I hate it when they cut off. The words they cut off in this is freaking frustrating. Gary, I think the woke interventions we've been seeing infect our favorite franchises. Reminds best of The Thing from John Carpenter's The Thing. So it says it reminds you of John Carpenter of The Thing. Okay. It just hops from person to person. Yeah. I mean, so basically you're saying the woke interventionalists are like The Thing from John Carpenter, and it just hops from person to person, and that's what it does to the franchises. Yes, that's a great analogy. That is a great analogy. Everything that's been going on in Hollywood right now is The Thing. Thank you, Kuczynski. Hail, Gary. Even if you're not watching Batwoman anymore, you can smile knowing that the clip from Electric Six in your last review inspired a bunch of people to search for Abraham Lincoln Gay Bar on President's Day. Oh, it did. Awesome. Gay bar, gay bar, gay bar. I love that song. Electric Six. Yeah. The Batwoman reviews, they would get repetitive. I was already seeing diminishing returns. And quite frankly, I saved that shit for Star Trek or Doctor Who, but Batwoman, it's a lot of episodes and it's insignificant. I mean, it's fun to roast, and he'll do every episode, and EFAP, they'll eventually do every episode. But quite frankly, it's not bringing the milkshakes to the yard anymore. It's not really getting a lot of traction. I think people are just sick of it. I think what I'll do is what I did last year is just give a review of the season at the end of the season. And I'll highlight some of the dumber shit. Kind of like what I'm doing with the Picard review, but hopefully I'll have that formula cracked, which I don't yet, to be honest with you. I really don't. But no, I'm not going to, I'm going to watch it. I'm still going to watch it because we're going to talk about it on the Inquisition. And I will be caught up, but I don't feel the need to, I am so happy I saw Superman and Lois this morning because it was a great way to start the day. And let's talk about it. I'm limited on time today, folks, but we got 2 hours here. I can go for another half hour. Superman and Lois. Now that we're 2 episodes in, I almost want to make a video on it. And I know it won't do well, and I don't give a shit. Superman and Lois is everything we've been asking for. Is it perfect? No. It's about 90% of what we were asking for, which is way more than what we should expect. It's a traditional story that treats its hero with respect. The man and the woman work together. It's egalitarian. The two boys are different. One could potentially be annoying as hell, but they don't, he's not traumatized all the time. He's not annoying all the time. The brothers actually love each other and they're out for each other. The family, it's basically what it's going to turn out to be is the world versus Superman's family. And instead of dividing them, it's going to be a story of them uniting all the time to fight off the world. The people who want, because everyone's saying, even Lois's father, Superman, you can't have this family. What you've done is going to destroy it. General Lane came out and found out that the boys know he's Superman. He's all, it's going to destroy your family, right? The big villain is Alex Luthor from another world where Superman was evil and destroyed his world. So he's going to another Earth to try to save it from an evil Superman, but he's got it wrong. Or does he? So he's a very complicated, different Lex Luthor, which is cool, which is very cool. Then you have General Lane, finding out this information. How's it going to work? Then we have Morgan Edge, who's buying up land and being the symbol of bad corporations. Or is he? And Lois is up against him. Then we have the boys adapting to high school. One has powers, one doesn't, but his powers really aren't that great. They aren't that great. They went to the Fortress of Solitude, and Jor-El said his human DNA keeps him from storing. So the theory is the powers are provided by the rays from the yellow sun, and that power gets stored in Clark's Kryptonian body. And that, God, I'm forgetting the other kid's name. There's Jonathan and Jared or whatever. Jordan. After Jor-El, Jordan, sorry. His body can't store the power from the yellow sun. So his powers only come in spurts, which leads me to believe that the other brother will eventually have some powers too, but they'll be very low level powers, right? So, Jordan gets upset about this, but then, Lois basically says to the family, hey, me and Jonathan gave up a lot. We gave up lives in Metropolis for you, Jordan. So you can have, a a better, simpler life. They rallied for the little brother. So it's not going to be this big problem where there's resentments, maybe once in a while, but they're moving on. And the Superman shit is good. You know, the effects are pretty damn good. The music's decent. The cinematography's good. It's very much Friday Night Lights if you're into that show. The drama is like the handheld camera. It's got interesting characters. Not everybody's all bad and everybody's all good, but Superman is good. Clark Kent is good. He's all good. He's just trying to figure out something we all try to figure out every day. How do we deal with our partner, with our loved one, with our mom or dad, with our relationships? And not even the Man of Steel can figure that out. And it's going to be interesting, but it's going to be done from a genuine place as far as Clark Kent is concerned. It is going back to the roots of Superman, which, you know, I would say, yeah, it's Man of Steel meets Friday Night Lights, and it's damn good. It's damn good. As opposed to Jar Jar Abrams' announcement, which was horrific. But I would give this episode, again, it gives you way more context from the first episode. You should almost, if you haven't watched it, it's very good that you can watch these two episodes back to back. And damn, I'm impressed. The CW, when it tried, it made a very good Superman show. Are they going to pull the rug out from under us at some point? I hope not, because it sounds like to me, the creatives behind the show, who definitely are people who made shit like Batwoman and, you know, the crappy garbage that we've seen on the CW. It sounds like they really want to. It's almost like there's been an admission in Hollywood going, you know what? We have really contributed to the divisiveness in this country, and we're going to try to make it better. Because Hollywood has not done a lot of good lately, quite frankly. It's been poisonous and divisive. And if somebody's going to dial things back and say, but it's going to, you know what? You better commit to the bit. You better fucking commit to the bit, because it's not going to be rebuilt. These relationships are not going to be rebuilt, some ever and some overnight. You're going to have to prove to a lot of people that you're about a lot more than just trying to, you know, appease to a certain crowd. So I am not at any point believing that the CW is about this yet, but I'll watch this and take this episode one episode at a time. And if it goes completely woke and intersectional, well, that's what I fully expect. If it doesn't, then I'll be pleasantly surprised. But so far, it's a show that, hey, it's free on TV. I could recommend you go watch for free on the CW seed or something like that. You have to sit through some commercials, but it doesn't cost you a penny. And even though Superman is really short, so is Dean Cain. And Lois Lane looks like a skeleton. She was better in this episode. Her acting, I think she might be the weakest link. The kids are actually cast really well. I think they did great casting on the kids. They did. And Tyler Hoechlin, I think he's a good Superman. I think he's really good. He's grown on me. I hated his costume in Supergirl. I think the costume is better. Oh my God, the fucking Fleischer costume. And the first episode was just, oh. I'm all fired up on Superman. I bagged and boarded Superman comics on BB&C with Az yesterday. I love Superman as a character. And I think Superman, above all other characters in any comic book, is tailor-made for film and television. I think even more than comic books. I think he might be a better film and television character than he is a comic book character. Now, there's been some great comics. One of them is behind me in my rack, Man of Steel, written, drawn by John Byrne. good shit. There's been Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow by Alan Moore. There's a great run by Dan Jurgens, who's probably the best artist writer on Superman outside of John Byrne. But there's no like Frank Miller run. There's no Phoenix Saga in Superman. But there's a lot of damn good stories. And a lot of them haven't been told yet. So while people might be burnt on Superman, and while the Superman has had a lot of TV shows, and they've all been successful to varying degrees. But it's the first thing I watched. George Reeves, Noelle Neal, Superman. Noelle Neal is my Lois Lane forever. She came and visited my store. It was one of the greatest moments of my life, meeting Noelle Neal, and she was sweet as hell. Old school Hollywood. Oh my God. Erica Durance was hot and smart and funny and a great Lois Lane. Terry Hatcher, same. Margot Kidder, loved Margot Kidder. Even, this is terrible, but I'm going to say, what's her name from Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman? The Disney princess girl. Forgetting her name. She was good too. The only one I didn't like was Kate Bosworth in Superman Returns. She was horribly miscast. And I even like Brandon Routh. I thought he was a good Superman if they actually gave him any lines. But no, I think Superman and Lois so far gets my recommendation and the highest one at that. And my God, did we need a good show. So, yeah, I'll probably do a video. I'm going to do a WandaVision video. I've got a Picard video coming out. I've got to get some videos in the can because I'm leaving at the end of the month for 2 weeks. Now, I'll be live streaming from the road. I'll still be making videos. YouTube does not have a vacation mode. They don't like it when you take, so I'm going to be working on my vacation, but we're going to be looking for homes. And it's going to be crazy, but hopefully I can keep up with that stuff during the week. All right. But well done, CW and Greg Berlanti. Ugh. Sorry. Just threw up a little bit in my mouth. It did a good job on Superman. Paisley Gemini for $9.99 says, "Hail Gary, Real Genius is one of my favorite movies and yours as well. Since you want to change the proto-molecule level on your membership, how about changing it to a kilojoule or a megajoule level?" And that's one of two from Paisley Gemini for $4.99. And I can't read the other one, so I'll have to go over here. Hang on. That's easy enough to fix. Or at least it was. There it is. Based on the energy output of the last laser that Chris Knight built, 2 of 2. Yeah, Chris Knight had my original last name too. If you want to hear the story real quick why I love Real Genius. I mean, Real Genius is your typical 80s comedy, and it's Val Kilmer at his best. And Val Kilmer was Ryan Reynolds before Ryan Reynolds, by the way, his humor. Like if you look at Van Wilder and Real Genius, they're very similar movies. But I watched Real Genius coming down from my from an acid trip. It wasn't my first one, it was like my second or third. And I went to Magic Mountain with a church group and dropped acid with my friend, Greg. And me and Greg were tripping balls around Magic Mountain for all night. And then we went to his house and watched Real Genius on HBO. And by the end of the movie, we were in tears crying because it was like the most beautiful movie we had ever seen. The journey of Chris Knight. And it's just like, Yeah, so it was like we were like critics watching the best of cinema or whatever, and I just thought it was high art at the end. It was just because I was tripping balls. That's all. But we were like, it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. And it's always had a soft spot in my heart ever that night. I own it. I love fucking Real Genius. Great movie. Gary, even if you could just screen share my pinned tweet at Canasol so that people can see my hex cipher that Marvel is suppressing on Reddit. Soul for X. I don't even know what language you're speaking there, buddy. I mean, I appreciate it, but like, I know nothing about that. And what if I share something that is dangerous to my channel? I don't know what a hex cipher is. And I don't know why Marvel would ban it. Is it because it looks like a Yahtzee symbol? And it's very hard for me to go and run over and look at something on Twitter without completely derailing the show. So maybe if you contact my mods and they can take a look at it, that would be cool. But I run this show by myself, so I can't just sit there and stop, go to Twitter, look at it, assess it while there's a bunch of dead air. I hope you understand. Thank you for the super chat. Next time, email me in advance before the show, show me what's happening, and we could certainly do something. Ataku Sage for $1.99. Consider reading Naruto and Bleach 2 for my favorites. Yeah, you have to understand. It's a lot like GoFundMe's. I want to just share and shout out everything, and I will but I have to look at stuff first. I can't just throw stuff because trolls exist. Trolls exist, and quite frankly, Solve for X, this is the first time I've ever seen you on the channel. So you might have been around forever, and it's the first time I acknowledge it. So why don't you contact one of my mods, and they would be happy to look into it for you. And they're the people with the wrench. Cecil says, is adult only content. # Disney needs to apologize to Gina. Yes, they do. They need to publicly apologize. Even if it's not rehiring, they need to publicly apologize. They do. You know what, Cecil? I got a question for all y'all out there. Do you think Superman and Lois is an acknowledgement that Hollywood has been too divisive? And is it a concerted effort to try to turn shit around? Or is it just one show and they're like, let's make this one show for conservatives? I mean, I think they're both good questions. Tell me what you think, because I want to hear what you think. And let's be, and again, I want to be real. I am not buying into the CW yet. It's 2 episodes of television that I could recommend you watch, but please watch it knowing feelings and hallways are always around the corner. WG for $10. Hail Gary. It's as if Pablo, Freddie, and Pedro give open mouth waist hugs to the woke amongst us. Poor chaps. They do, WG. It's what, actually Eric July had a video that was woefully underviewed on this subject that really gets to the heart of the situation with Bill Burr. Is this exposes that they're all full of shit. They're all adult pretenders. They're all fake as fuck, and they don't believe in the causes they pretend to be about. They're just saying whatever they can say to keep their career going another minute. It's a dog eat dog. It's a Shark Tank in Hollywood. That has never changed. It will never change. And instead of having powerful men telling you to suck their D to get a job, now you have powerful men and women saying, if you don't talk to me in a very rigid way, I'm going to Me Too your ass out of a job. So you better, it's all about tyranny. It's still all about tyranny. The type and the tools have changed, but it's still all about tyranny. And that's why they love authoritarianism and power. because they identify with it. That's how Hollywood is run. It's a bunch of little fucking dictatorships. Kathleen Kennedy is a dictator. And the worst kind. She's a front runner, like Jeremy calls her. Who wins? He who wins shall lose, and he who loses shall win. Rassilon's test of immortality. Says Commodore Stargazer for $5. Hail Rassilon, by the way. Thoughts on the Hasbro is the what world Hasbro. I'm trying. We got acronyms again. I got to see what this acronym is before I read it, because I don't always know. Wizards of the Coast. Okay, Wizards of the Coast. So, according to this super chat, it says, thoughts on Hasbro Wizards of the Coast films. What would it take to compete with MCU? Is there enough demand for fantasy without the MCU nostalgic zeitgeist advantage? Says Jared Kelly for $5. Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro teaming up. Well, I think it can succeed. Sure, it can absolutely compete. Anything can. But yes, it can compete. But it has to come out the gate hard, good. You got to get your best people. You can't just roll out a piece of shit. The MCU succeeded because Iron Man was a good fucking movie. End of story. Lord of the Rings is the greatest trilogy ever made because they went about it right. They made it a history. They made a high quality film. I don't even know. I doubt Peter Jackson thought he was making, at the time, a classic motion picture that will be remembered forever as one of the greatest trilogies, motion pictures ever made. But he did. He did. Because it was work ethic and it was the right group of people and they were into the project. That's a rare thing. That is lightning in a bottle. But if something like that happens, certainly they can compete against Marvel. But what tends to happen, Jared, is Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro will team up with the Hollywood studio that just goes about it with a cookie cutter approach, and then it'll just be another forgettable, like fucking G.I. Joe movie. And that's what you don't want. But there's enough lore there to make something good. Yes. Hail, Gary. I read that one. And I read that one. Such an amazing time to see these horrible people fare. I cannot wait until all of these businesses fail and no one hires these petty people. Karma. Infinite Soul for $5. Karma exists and it will happen. No, they were mentioning it in the Bill Burr podcast. There are going to be people looking back on this and hopefully being fucking embarrassed. Fucking embarrassed. Because you were, all these people who were convinced they were on the right side of history, believe me, you're on the wrong side of history. You're racial segregationists. You're fucking racial segregationists. That's what you're basically siding with communists. Okay. A form of government that has never worked and will never work because human beings are human beings. And it's an ideology that festers and you know what? Universities love because they're kind of a version of it, but it's propped up by capitalism, which saves like their sports programs that keep it all going. I think the one thing the world has woken up to is academia. You want to talk about something that needs an overhaul or it's outlived its usefulness. I'm not saying school has. Definitely go to school, but you'd be just fine going to a city college. Just fine. And you'll be a lot less in debt. And you know what? How many people have we seen not go to school at all and they're doing just fine? As a matter of fact, my son is thriving in the, I don't like it, but he's thriving in the Zoom thing because, he's on the spectrum. He doesn't have to fucking interact with people, and he's fucking killing it in grades, but I highly question how well he's doing. So I've looked into it, and yeah, they're fluffing up the grades. They're fluffing up the fucking grades. And you know what? There might be some logic behind it. It's like the kids are going through a hard time. We don't want to yeah. But the kids don't have to be going through a hard time. They could be going to school. If your fucking cowardly piece of shit fucking unions would not use this as a power play. Instead, which exposes everyone, the teachers aren't there for the fucking kids. They're there to indoctrinate, and they're there to make a few bucks while complaining about money when they get summers off. Yeah, it's woken a lot of people up in that. Off topic, but just saw you on EFAP talking about rated R superhero movies. Insightful and funny conversation with the EFAP guys. Oh, cool. Man in the Coil for $5. That was a fun EFAP. Yeah, as far as rated R superhero movies, superheroes are not a genre. They're not a genre. If anything, I might be getting this wrong, but they're not a medium. I forgot the word, a much smarter Mahler said. I think it's you can have multiple genres within superheroes. You can have a noir superhero. You can have a science fiction superhero. You can have a horror superhero. That's why it should be able to last, because it goes through multiple genres. But the problem is, because of China, we can't explore what would be the best, I think, genre for superheroes. Horror, because you can't depict certain things in China, which sucks for the Chinese people, by the way. Oh, and a reminder, the Chinese government said that being gay can be a mental disorder, and everybody's still working with them. You're all fucking hypocrites. That whitewashed line by Capaldi's doctor is the exact scene that I was no longer a fan of Doctor Who. Stopped watching and never looked back, says Sith Cake for $5. Yeah, that was bad. That was very, very bad. Boo, do, 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 do. There's been a lot of people watching. Sorry. Yeah, I'm like running up against the clock. Junior's out of school, so I got to run. I wanted to talk more about Superman and Lois. I really did. But I guess I'll do a review on that one. And I'm sorry I got to bug out, folks. Mrs. Nerdrotic's currently in Beverly Hills, seeing her best friend, who she hasn't seen, I think, since the Coof started. This is, it's a friend of the family. She's a member of our family. And I think Mrs. Nerdrotic really needed to have some fun with her friend. And she's hanging out, in Beverly Hills and having a good old time. And I couldn't be happier, because Mrs. Nerdrotic's had a fucking rough year. If you guys don't know, my wife, her fucking dad died, her business destroyed, but she's managed to get through it. We're working on the next thing. And by the way, just to report on the Cal exit, because I haven't talked about it in a while. Once again, this is the month we are starting to look for homes. It's on. We are out of here. Our county is still in purple, so we're still locked down. Texas opened wide up, and a lot of people got upset about that. I didn't. I think it's good. As far as masks goes, if it was like, hey, you wear a mask and we're going to open everything up, and, try to practice social distancing as much as you can. I'd be okay with that. I have no problem with that. I don't, personally. But it's come to, now you got to wear 2 masks after your vaccine and practice social distancing. Well, what's the fucking point then? Like, what's the fucking point? If we're not going to open things up after the vaccine, what's the fucking point? Apparently, according to you, your vaccine is working. So what's the point? You're gonna discourage people from getting the vaccine, and it's gonna take fucking longer. And I know what the point is, by the way. I know what it is. That's why I'm leaving California, because it's just become a political game. And let's hopefully remind all of them that they all failed us. They all failed us. And yeah, my wife was one of those poor souls who lost a business she had for 15 years. 15 years. And it was successful. Okay, so when it comes to Jeremy at the quartering, all right, here we go. Thanks, Eric K, by the way. They are getting a campaign going, flagging every video of his as offensive and trying to strike on everyone. He is getting accused of being a phobe and getting people canceled. Getting you the link. Thanks for pulling off the road and telling me that. Okay. So Jeremy's being considered a phobe, probably for something he said in passing, and they're trying to flag all his videos. So that's fucked up. You know what? I'm just going to reach out to him and ask him what's going on. But I mean, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Okay. So without knowing full details, unless something horrible happened that I don't know about, every interaction I've had with Jeremy from the quartering has been positive. I have reached out to him because he knows a lot about YouTube and he's answered my questions immediately. He has made videos in support of me, and I am forever grateful for that. So, and we had him on Friday Night Tights. So yeah, if you could support him in any way possible, don't let them run with the false narrative. Jeremy is just a guy. He's just a guy who's been attacked for his views, has been physically attacked for his views, which aren't even that hardcore. He called out some thoughts. Yeah, thoughts need to be called out. By the way, hail, it's a Gundam. So if you could support Jeremy in that, I would appreciate it. Again, I was grateful he came on. He just passed 1 million, and yeah, I guess that puts you on people's radar. So yeah, they're trying to, I guess, cancel Jeremy from the quartering, and we need to stop that shit whenever, because it's only a matter of time till it comes for you or I. It is. I'm sure I've said something they don't like. But thanks for bringing that to my attention, guys. And sorry I didn't get to it sooner. But that is the case. So thanks to the Nerdrotics for doing a great job today. Eric, you're great. Sorry I wasn't that communicative. We're actually going to have a meeting soon. I know I promised that, but Mrs. Nerdrotic's going to lead that up, get things organized a little bit. And thanks to everyone who donated. Everything will be read in a Super Chat Square Up. There's a big one coming out on Thursday. It's a couple hours long. And it's got Toxic Mailbag in it too. And that should damn near take care of everything except for today. But yeah, I might do another live stream on Nerdrotic Live tomorrow. Kind of just, we can do a Square Up on live on Nerdrotic Live tomorrow if there's time. But thank you again to everyone who donates. You help keep the lights on, and you pay my mom's rent, and she greatly appreciates that. Thank you to the Nerdrotics once again. Thanks to everyone who just took the time to watch the show. Thanks to everyone who has subscribed. Please make sure you are still subscribed. The next show will be Friday Night Tights, unless I sneak in a Square Up like tomorrow on Nerdrotic Live, not on this channel. Make sure you subscribe to Nerdrotic Live, because that's where all the live streams go. Subscribe to Nerdrotic Daily, which I run with Perry Chan. Starting tomorrow, I'm turning memberships on for that channel. It'll be a flat rate. You'll be able to get to watch the Perry Chan videos early if you're a member there, and that helps fund Perry Chan. So thank you very much. And again, Kurt Metzger, Friday Night Tights. Friday Night Tights t-shirts coming up. Friday Night Tights mugs coming up. And, videos too. So until next time, not all who wander are lost.
Nerdrotic.com.
Thanks again for watching. There is something, I'm not going to give you any details at all. I'm just going to say there's something very, very cool and special coming up someday. Someday. It's a horrible tease, I know, but that's the way it goes. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will